Hello there, what's going on everybody? We've got Agent Kallus fully previewed. We're going to take a look at his command cards and his Flaw card. We're going to go over this preview and we're going to talk about Agent Kallus today because it's very exciting to finally have our previews. Also, tomorrow we're going to be bringing you the Lando Calrissian preview. So we'll be talking about Lando tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed and click that bell for alerts so you don't want to miss out on anything. Plus, by leaving a comment and being a subscriber is going to automatically enter you to win that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. So let's talk a little bit about Agent Kallus because he is the man, Mr. Mutton Chops himself. He's going to be available in a couple of different config options if you want to run him with the blaster, with the staff. Of course, I'm going to have to put a cigar on mine and maybe break that staff in half and turn it into nunchucks. How are you going to build your Agent Kallus? Is really the question. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. He's going to come with a bunch of different upgrade cards, so you're going to get cards that maybe you didn't have if you were just an Imperial player, like the Seize the Initiative, or Ascension Cables, a Portable Scanners, Situational Awareness, Vigilance, and Inspiring Presence, plus his J19 bow staff rifle pistol thing. We'll take a look at that as well. Now, without running any upgrades, he's only 90 points, which is not too bad. 90's fairly cheap for a commander. And I think maybe that's one good way to run him is just as a cheap commander. He's got some, I feel like if you just run him as a cheap commander, you probably kind of you're not really as able to take advantage of the contingencies keyword that he's going to have. So he works as a cheap commander. He also works as a combo commander with other people like Vader, for example. He's got Cunning, which is going to be real nice. It's going to let you win those ties. Cunning is, it's not, we've seen it on a couple of people now, so Cunning is it's a good keyword to have. He's flawed, so you're going to be able to give your Flaw card to your opponent. We're going to take a look at the Flaw card here in a little bit. But he's got some good shooting abilities baked into him. He's got Sharpshooter 1, which is just all around great, especially when you're shooting into people that are already suppressed. He's got Tactical 1, so after you move, you're going to get a free aim token. I love that. And his basic blaster is really not half bad. With Surge to Crit, he is going to have 3 dice with Pierce 1. 2 black and a white. You're probably going to get a free aim thrown in there. That's not bad. You're probably going to get at least 2 hits on there. And Surge to Crit, he even can do okay against vehicles with the Surge to Crit and Pierce 1. It's really nice. It's only range 2, so it's not the best weapon in the world, but for a 90-point commander, it's not half bad. He's speed 2. He's got also 2 red for his melee, so he's not terrible in melee, just based on his advanced combat training. He does not have Surge for defense, but does have the red plastoid armor, so he does have that red die for defense. Only courage of 2, and that's going to be a problem. We're going to see a little bit about, he's definitely somebody who takes suppression into consideration when you look at some of the other cards that are going to come with him. But 6 health is not half bad at all. He does have the command option, also the training option, as well as gear and the weapon. So let's take a look at the weapon. I'm a little underwhelmed at this weapon. It's and largely because of the cost. I'm not a big fan of this of the cost of this weapon. It's more dice, that's for sure. It's 1 more die. You're adding a single red die, and that's great. But you lose Pierce. You lose Pierce. Now you're also gaining range, right? And honestly, that's a big deal. Range 1 to 3 is awfully big deal. Considering, if you're only using range 2, anybody can stand by and kind of thwart you a little bit there. So, range 3 is certainly nice. It's a bigger bubble. It covers a lot more area than range 1 to 2 does. But boy, it's 25 points, right? It's an awful lot. Now, you do gain lethal, and you'll probably have that aim token. But then, of course, you're going to have even more dice, so you're going to need the aim more for rerolls, more likely to need it for rerolls rather than for Pierce. So, it's not that great. Certainly 25 points makes it awfully expensive. So, I'm not 100% sure how warm and fuzzy I feel, about that particular weapon. What I do think is better is his bow rifle, at least the staff version, because now all of a sudden we go from 2 red to now we're doubling our dice. You're getting a lot more dice in melee. You're also gaining lethal in melee, and you're gaining charge. So I feel like this is the better way to run it. I think this is like I would probably almost always rather have this in melee as the option, and then because I want to get close to people anyway. So if I don't get close enough to pull off the charge, then I can shoot them with Pierce 1. And if I do, then I can melee them, and then I'll still get my aim token, which is really nice. So I really like the bow rifle staff. I don't like the bow rifle blaster as much, so I'm a bigger fan of the staff. Plus, I just like melee. What I like to do is roll dice and take miniatures off the board, and I feel like the staff is going to give me a much better chance of doing that. So I like the staff. I could see maybe running him with the staff, but he doesn't really need it. He can still just be a good cheap commander. So let's take a look at his command cards. We've seen this one already. It's definitely inspired by Star Wars Rebels. We've got Zeb right there. Oh, I can't wait to see Zeb when they do him. I think they will. I think they want to have more melee characters that aren't necessarily Jedi, and Zeb gives them a great option to be able to do melee as well as ranged, and as well as he'd probably be an operative or something like that. So, Zeb would be fun. But we've already seen this card. This is Agent Kallus's 1-pip. He gains Agile 1 and Block. Well, that's a nice thing. That means if he spends the dodge, he's going to gain Surge to Crit. Yes, during Agent Kallus's activation, he may perform a free recover action. Recover is nice, right? Lets him get rid of suppression. Lets him flip that in case he's got the ranged version, it lets him kind of reassemble it into the staff or any other upgrade. So he's a great candidate for those upgrades that are going to exhaust. Things like Ascension cables and cards like that. I would say HQ uplink, but not HQ uplink, but because he can't take that. Enemy units engaged with Agent Kallus cannot withdraw, and that's also another cool thing. However, certain cards, I'm pretty sure like Luke Skywalker would still be able to do it, because if they've got disengage, then they don't have to withdraw. They can just perform a regular move action. So. I'm like, so I don't like, I would kind of like it if it also made enemy units not be able to use disengage. That would also be really cool. But then again, maybe that's the whole point of disengage, is that it was meant to beat a card like this. But usually, like, if you're going up against a tougher melee type of character, like, I don't like the whole bottom part. Like, I don't really care. Like, if I'm engaged, if you're running Kallus and I'm engaged with you, I want to punch you anyway, because I want to roll dice and take minis off the board. I want to punch him, whether or not it's my minis that come off or his minis. Like, I don't really want to just run and get the objective. If you don't even have to play this card. You just have to say face me, and I will be taunted into battling you. I wouldn't withdraw anyway. I don't know if I've ever withdrawn in my entire time of playing Star Wars Legion. I don't think I know how to do that. I don't think my fingers can actually move a miniature away unless I'm taking it off the board. Like, I would rather die than run in the game. So, like, for me, the second part of that card is meaningless, because I would never withdraw. But that's only if I'm facing Kallus. But no, seriously though, tactically it has a lot of benefit, especially to stop that that really like the big Death Trooper unit, or that full Shore Trooper unit that you are able to move and engage, and now they're tied up, or those clone Z6s that now. They can't, you're engaged with them. They can punch you, and it's not going to be as bad as if they shot you. But they're a lot of times maybe they just want to withdraw and then go claim the objective, or withdraw so somebody else can shoot you. And now so it's going to be better to go up against the core options to stop them from trying to leave and kind of keep yourself secured in a melee. As opposed to going after like Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, or saying, you can't, and because they'll be like, okay, I wasn't going to withdraw anyway, I'll just slice you down and kill you, because he's not immune to pierce, right? He will be if he's defending against a melee attack with the bow rifle staff. So again, if you want to play this 1-pip, you'd probably need the bow rifle staff equipped, which is going to be another 25 points. Otherwise, you might want to think twice about playing this card. Right, or at least using this as a strategy to try to tie up a Jedi, because you're not going to tie him up for very long. We do get a look at his 2-pip, ISB Investigation. This one is very interesting because, that generic Imperial 1-pip was changed where they had to reveal a card and, and this definitely would not have worked as a card to come out earlier in the game's life cycle because, there was never any question in the early days of Star Wars Legion as to what cards somebody was playing. Somebody was running, a Luke Skywalker Commander out of the core set. They had Luke's 3 and they had the generic 3 and then standing orders and that was it. And now all of a sudden we've got a lot more options between all the different operatives and commanders and the extra generic cards that we have. And now also with contingencies, you really never know what somebody's going to have in their hand. And so now is like the time for a card like this to come out. Now it's usually still a pretty good guess as to what they're running, but this is an interesting one. So it's Agent Kallus in 1 unit. It's a 2-pip. And it says declare a number and choose an opponent. That opponent sets aside face up any command cards in their hand that have a number of pips equal to the declared number. Now, I think this isn't during list building. So if I've got Han Solo and I've got his 0-pip and you say 1, I don't think I actually have to say that because it doesn't have that pip on it. It's only during during hand building that it counts as having it. Same goes, this would be good against like Maul. Right, yeah, because Maul actually has 2 1-pips, but one of them counts as a 3-pip during list building. So I'm pretty sure with this card, you're actually looking at the number of pips physically on the card because you're in the middle of the game. That's, when you're looking at the number of pips. It also makes me wonder if we're going to see more pip shenanigans in the future. Are we going to see, a lot more pip shenanigans like we did with Darth Maul, like the 2 1-pips? So basically it allows you to have 3 1-pips during the game. That's going to be really interesting. You set them aside, and then they return those cards to their hand after they select a command card in a subsequent round. Which means if they choose that next turn, you're going to know because they have to reveal it. So they're going to select, and that's the whole thing. Like, so they have to set it aside face up. So when you select your card, like if they select it from that pile, right? So it kind of means if you're afraid they're going to go with a 1-pip, you're going to say, all right, reveal however many 1-pips you have. They have to set it aside. And if they wanted to play a 1-pip next turn, it's going to be obvious because then they have to then pick that card and then, select it face down. So, this is a little bit of a mind game. It's not bad. Of course, I would just go with standing orders and really throw them off, because I love playing standing orders in the middle of the game to really play a mind screw on your opponent. So again, this one doesn't even frighten me at all. So like Kallus is not impressing me so far. I don't know if I would use him very much. I think there is uses for him, but none of these cards are too scary. This one's pretty good though. This one's pretty good. Ruthless Tactics. So this one is nice. So what this says is Agent Kallus enters 2 units. This is 3-pip. After an enemy unit defends against a ranged attack, it gains 1 observation token, or 2 observation tokens if it has a number of suppression tokens equal to or exceeding its courage value. During Agent Kallus's activation, he may perform a free recover action. So there's a couple of things going on here. There's actually 3 things. Stormtroopers attack somebody. Okay, boom. They get an observation token. Observation tokens, if you don't already remember, they're basically a single reroll. So kind of like a mini aim. Anytime somebody attacks that, of course, they have to spend it. But having lots of observation tokens is a really nice thing because if somebody doesn't have an aim, they can still reroll dice. This is especially good. We talked about him wanting to combo with Darth Vader. This is a great card, I think, if you're comboing with Darth Vader. Because Darth Vader wants to go kind of late, and Darth Vader usually doesn't aim. He's usually slow enough, and he usually has things kind of for other things. Maybe he goes into defensive stance or something like, or some whatever reason he just doesn't want to take aims. And I usually almost never aim with Darth Vader. And this is a great way. And, he doesn't have that surge to crit, unless he's fighting a Jedi if you're playing an operative Vader. But that was one of the problems. Like, hey, Vader's got red dice, but man, how many times have you rolled 6 red dice with Commander Vader in the early days of Legion, and there's like three, or 2 blanks and 2 surges. Or something like that. Like, that's happened to me so many times, and I was like, I got this Pierce 3 guy, I only managed to roll 2 hits. you know. And so, or even worse, if you have to do saber throw with Vader and you're only rolling 3 red dice, you've got Pierce 3. You really want those all 3 to be hits, you know. So, yeah, so this is a great way to give somebody like Vader rerolls when he wouldn't have an aim token otherwise, you know. And so if they're already suppressed, so if you're, you know, if you're going for an enemy commander or whatever, if they've already got those suppression tokens really high, then this is going to give them twice the amount. So they're going to gain 2 observation tokens. And this is one of the things in the German kind of spread from the Asmodee site, is that I think he comes with like 6 observation tokens. And people are like, wow, why does he have so many observation tokens? Because, you know, and that might not even be enough if you play this card really to its maximum benefit. So yeah, he's a really nice, this is a really nice card. Also, the other thing that's great is that Agent Kallus gets to perform a recover action during his activation. So this is 2 cards that are letting him get a free recover, which is especially nice. Again, you're going to possibly want to load him up with a lot of things that are going to want to recover. The weapon, he can flip-flop the weapon a lot easier now. A lot of more exhaustible upgrades are going to be good here. And, of course, he can potentially build up some suppression and still get rid of it. So all of those things are pretty good. I like this card. This is a really good card for your whole army. Now, observation tokens do go away at the end of the round. So you want this one. You don't want this one to be so late that you don't have that many units left alive. But the good thing about this is you got that one stormtrooper that's like all by himself. It's just 1 mini left or whatever. Have him go first. Put some observation tokens on. Oh, suddenly it's not a meaningless attack. They're going to now get some more. And this is going to factor really well into suppressive units too. So a lot of those, a lot of Imperial units have suppressive weapons. So this is going to be really good for that as well. So this is just a really good card. I like it. I like this card a lot. This is my favorite Agent Kallus card. So very cool. And we got to talk about his Flaw card. So we got teased this a little bit from Luke Eddy. Developing sympathies. So you're going to give this to your opponent. Your opponent then can play this card at the start of the command phase if there is a wounded enemy Agent Kallus. So if once Kallus gets shot, he's now, and it's this thematic. So once he's been shot, all of a sudden he wants to, like, he's angry or whatever, but he has to stop and think. He's like, why did they shoot me? They don't like me. I think that's just because it was trying to be thematic with the episode. He was wounded, so was Zeb. They kind of helped each other survive, and then he develops sympathies. So at the end of Kallus's activation, if he performs an attack, he's going to gain 4 suppression tokens. So basically, your opponent's going to play this card, and I don't want you to attack with Kallus this turn. And since he's only got a courage of 2, 4 suppression tokens is a pretty big deal. He's not going to be able to rally them away, at least not right now, because it's at the end of his activation. So he'll still be able to take 1 away during the end step. Of course, unless it's like hostile territory or something like that. But he'll still be able to take the 1 away. But he's going to probably be down in action next turn, because that means he's going to be starting the following turn with at least 3. Maybe even more than that if he has been, shot a couple of times, which if he's close enough to enemy units that you're afraid, that you're like, oh, I don't want him moving in and charging somebody. I don't want him doing attacks this turn. Well, all of a sudden, he's probably also going to get shot quite a bit. So now you're looking at a very realistic chance for Agent Kallus to panic and run off the board, especially if he's anywhere close to a board edge too. You have to, this is a pretty nasty card. Now, granted, this will work better if you were pairing him up with some Inspire type commanders, but really the Empire is not real big on inspiration commanders. Like, you might want to pair him with Veers, you get a little bit of stuff, but realistically, I think you just got to kind of hope that he doesn't panic and run off the board. So maybe you just decide not to attack with him. But it's a nasty flaw, and it could be a painful. But then again, if it's worth it, maybe you just go for it. Maybe you do. It's going to be pretty interesting. That's Agent Kallus. He is coming soon, and we also have a Lando preview to look at tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think of Agent Kallus. Overall, I'm not that crazily impressed. I don't really see myself running him, but I'll have to give him a try at least. I don't think he's somebody that I'm going to want to take a whole lot. the contingencies aspect is nice, but it's not a game breaker. And if I wanted to run Vader, I'm already running a really expensive character. Do I want another character on top of that? I mean, I guess if you're running, I'd just rather run Commander Vader. And I know a lot of people say Commander Vader is not playable or whatever. I disagree with that. I think Commander Vader is great. I don't care if he's slow. I'll run his 3-pip, the new Operative Vader 3-pip, start him in the middle of the battlefield. I don't care how slow he is now. You know, there's a lot of ways. I really like Commander Vader, but people like Operative Vader. I don't know. I don't think the need to run Operative Vader is enough to justify putting Kallus in there. But I could see him as a cheaper commander without running much else. If you were trying to do something else, maybe the next really cool Imperial Operative, like he might be good to run with Bosk. But I guess we'll have to see. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. I want to thank you so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are super awesome, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for your continued support, and as always, have a great day.